So hey guys, how are things going? This is Jason Paradise here, alongside Chase Straight, who is another one of our community, I guess you could say, managers in a way of sorts, player experience manager if we're going to be precise here, alongside two of our finalists. We've got Smurfburn, the US champion, as well as Matrix, the defending world champion, going to be going to Paris, France very shortly next week to compete for the 2013 World Championship. First things first, before we get to you players, Chase, how are you doing today? And you excited? Paris is a week away.
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. It's crazy to me. Like, it feels like just a few months ago we were putting this whole thing together, and I remember sitting down with you, Matrix, and like talking about like the road to Paris and getting some feedback on, this is like before it was even a thing. We produced a website, did all the game to web stuff. We've run a ton of live tournaments now, and this is kind of like the culmination of all that effort. So this has kind of been like my baby from the beginning. So I personally am just like really excited to see it go to the World Championship.
That's awesome.
I hope the birth is not going to be too painful.
I think I can handle it. I think I can handle it. I'll brace myself.
I believe in you.
I'm pretty sure we don't want to make a live event out of this, but while we are on the subject of live events, Smurfburn, you were the champion of live events here in North America, where, of course, Chase, myself, and you all live. Matrix, of course, on the other side of the world, and we'll get to him in just a second. But Joel, first name, of course, Smurfburn, tell us a little bit about your road to victory, how you qualified for Paris, and what you had to overcome to make it to this stage.
Let's see. Well, it started out, like you said, back in KublaCon, which is a little gaming festival in San Francisco, and that's where I met Chase, and they had their booth set up. We played our live event there, won that, and then basically just prepared for the North American Live Finals. I knew Crixius was going to be my biggest competition, and I had first day I played a deck that I knew would make him feel comfortable playing Standoff in the next day, and then rolled in with the Myriad Fatties, and that put me on the road to Paris.
Nice. That's huge.
That's awesome. So yeah, now you're going to Paris, and you are the North American representative. Now, Matrix, you are no stranger to this. You are last year's world champion. You are the player to beat, the top player in Duel of Champions, at least for the next week. Tell us about your road to Paris this year, because I know that you fought good and hard to get to where you are now.
Well, I've been looking forward to it since the last year when I won the DreamHack. I was pretty sure that that there will be second championship follow up. I actually my road to Paris was really long and with a lot of turns and obstacles. I mean, apparently all the roads lead to Rome, not to Paris. So I just got lost on the way. Yeah, bad jokes are bad. So I couldn't take part in the July online qualifier because of real life commitments. My studies, stuff has got priorities, right? Then in August I got 5 consecutive disconnects, and that basically just excluded me from the competition for August. Then I went to Gamescom. And at Gamescom, I came a close second versus Grobel. Then I tried the wildcard tournament, and it was not my day again. And finally, I qualified at Eurogamer in London. Jesus, what's happening with Joel?
My webcam just keeps falling over.
Well, I remember there was a really good quote from you, Matrix, where you said, I may not be the best Duel of Champions player, but I am like the most dedicated.
Yeah.
And here you are, and that's obviously really paid off for you. I mean, you've been a big part of the community.
That's exactly what I see as my biggest strength. I'm definitely not the best player. I'm playing quite well. Otherwise, I would not qualify.
Right.
I'm definitely very dedicated when I take a when I take something on, some challenge on, I put my heart into it, I put my mind into it, and I just analyze how can I do it and how can I win it, and I just don't stop until I do it.
Right, and that's huge. That's something that not many people can do. I mean, we're at 8 players now, and they all have their own strengths, of course. But perseverance is something that any sort of competitive player definitely needs, and you've shown it. So hey, you've qualified, which is absolutely huge. So we know how you guys got there. I guess the next biggest thing to tackle is what you guys are anticipating when you get there. And Matrix, I kind of want to go right back to you, because you'll be the perfect person to answer this. Being the world champion from 2012, we've seen a lot of changes since then. The meta has shifted drastically. Of course, Forgotten Wars just came out recently. How do you anticipate that with the changes in the metagame, with the new cards that are available, how is this event going to differ from your experience in 2012? Will it just be decks? Will it be playstyles? Give me your analysis on what you think you're going to see different this year than what you saw last year.
Well, first of all, the biggest difference, and undoubtedly the biggest difference, is that last year it was a sealed deck competition where we were given a starter deck plus a couple of boosters, and we were constructing a deck out of it. And now this is a limited one. And certainly my biggest strength in the card games is being really good at pardon, this is going to be constructed. It's really good at being limited. So maybe constructed decks aren't my strongest suit, but well, still I'm happy to take any challenge on. But the one thing for example, I'm not really happy is that Forgotten Wars were released so shortly before it, because the meta didn't have time to solidify, and I personally feel most confident in a very solid, well, you might even say stale meta, where I can analytically take on all the decks, pick the deck that is most fitting my playstyle and got the highest win percentage, and then just tune it and perfect my play with it till I'm having a satisfactory win percentage. So what is a big minus for me is that the meta is not yet solidified. I'll prefer it to be more. And what do I expect? I expect actually insane strategies, especially from Nilicons. And probably Trubicia will place a little bit more predictable, but with way more consistency. Nilicons loves trying out those crazy strats, and Trubicia is rather similar to me in his playstyle, when he picks the deck and then he hones his skills to absolute mastery. I cannot really say much about other players, as I'm not I didn't play as often with them. But all in all, I expect a couple of not usual decks and a couple of really insane, crazy strategies.
Indeed. Speaking of one of those players that you don't know as much about the playstyle, we've got, of course, one of them here in Smurfburn. I want to turn the attention a little bit to you. Of course, you're a little bit newer to the game. How do you anticipate, because you've just seen the Forgotten Wars expansion come out, you've been play testing. I know you and your good buddy Dietrich, who is in chat right now, thank you to him for the support. Do appreciate that. How do you anticipate that this is going to change your playstyle? I mean, you played Demiria Fatties. I know that the last time that we had chatted on stream, you loved to play Necro and really abuse that the Adara Malik ability. But now we've got things like Akane in Academy, who can do the exact same thing but for spells. How do you anticipate this Forgotten Wars expansion changing your playstyle for the 2013 World Championship?
Well, one thing I expect from all the competitors is tight play. We're going to see a lot of really tight play, not a lot of play mistakes. And I think a lot of people are going to have a solid decks. And like Matrix said, there's going to be a lot of people with kind of some crazier styles, maybe the backup deck. I think that Mr. H3 was a good indication of things that are going to come.
Well, I said LAN event, and then I was going to say it's put in parentheses.
There's
a huge
someone's being really loud right now.
Yeah. I feel like we're on a subway.
Could either of you just tell them, please,
Megan.
respect.
I think is that Tori? Tell her to be quiet.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Is that the
Tori.
blue hair?
It wasn't the blue hair. No.
Blue hair don't care. Well, either way, I'll be quiet.
Blue hair don't care. Dang.
Something I wanted to bring up to the stream to the people that are watching. Matrix was talking about sort of like the format from last year. Just to recap, a lot of the tournaments that have been going on thus far on the road to Paris have been single elimination, like bracket tournaments, with your own deck, and we're doing something a little bit different for the finals. So the first stage of the finals, obviously, there's 8 people going into it. They're going to play in a round robin tournament with each matchup being a best of 3, and that's going to be their own deck. So this is all the stuff that they have prepared already. Now, at the end of that round-robin tournament, 4 people are going to move on into a single elimination stage. And from that point on, they're going to be given accounts that have every single card in the game. So they will be able to create as many different decks as they want going into the semifinals and finals. And once they do that, they'll be able to switch up their decks in between games, based on if they have like a strategy to counter someone, but won't be able to change cards. Guys, how does that affect the way you go into it? Just from like a competitive standpoint.
I'll throw in there. I've played some Magic Live events, and from what you're saying, I mean, playing 15 games in one day, that's a lot. That's very mentally draining. And so people are going to need to be prepared for that. And maybe at the end of the day, we might see some sloppy gameplay. But I hope everyone's prepared for that, because playing all day straight in a live event setting it's tiring on people. And I think that's going to be an interesting factor that a lot of people have a hard time training for.
Yeah, I think it's going to be split up over the course of the week, but the semifinals and finals will all be on Friday, November 1st. We'll be streaming actually on here and on like Jeux Video for the French stream from 2:30 to 7:30 p.m. Paris time. So hopefully you guys will get a little bit of a break between competition and won't get too weary towards the end there.
I agree with Smurfburn that I have played some Magic the Gathering competition as well, and it's extremely draining to play a lot of games in a row where you basically have to keep your maximal focus all the time. So that's one. And the second thing, I personally really very much dislike the current state of the tournament rule about deck switching. I think that this introduces a rock, paper, scissors random element. There are matchups that you just pick and you straight up lose. That is a flaw in the current card base and not even balance the card base. It's not even about that cards are overpowered, but there's not enough alternatives to introduce in your decks to be able to deal with some stuff. And secondly, it in my personal opinion, it takes away a lot of skill. You just pick the right deck, not even pick. You just, you're playing a Russian roulette. You're throwing dice, and then whoever gets the correct deck just wins. I feel like this very much decreases the importance of skill.
Right. I think that's why they have the deck switching, because if we're playing a best out of 5, and I have a deck, or you have a deck that beats my deck every game, then we need to be able to switch it up, because that's not going to be a very interesting match.
Yeah, like you're allowed to create as many of these side decks as you want, so you can have your control deck and a counter deck if you see something going in. So when you go into those matchups, the first game you get like a bad matchup, you're going to come into it with a different strategy for the next game.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I see the point, and I understand. I mean, I do not like the fact that it is already rock, paper, scissors. If let's say you're playing Damiria Control versus Adam Malik, this is like 85-15% or 80-20 matchup without, if you're not teched with grave removal. I mean, now with the rise of Nethermancer, it's a little bit better, but still extremely hard. You need to time your board wipes extremely carefully. So 80-20, 20-80 for the Myriad, this is not good odds. Yeah. But on the other hand, that I don't feel that deck switching is by far a solution to that problem. What I already like and enjoy is the Mr. Hennip's idea of having a deck and a side deck. It's not all that good in best of threes because you still have very little, space for mistake. Maybe in best of fives it will work better. But all in all, I would rather be looking forward to introducing sort of a sideboarding mechanism into the game, because the purely, in my opinion, deck switching is rather about luck and who wins the deck roulette than about the skill. And I would prefer the game to be much more about the skill and less about luck.
Well, that's a critique of the game itself, though, is that a lot of games come down to the matchups and not the skill. Sometimes, like 2080, a skill can increase that to 2575, but Matrix is right, where it seems like a lot of games are just predetermined before the game starts.
Okay. All right, so going off of that, let's take this a step further then and say, okay, let's say we just finished the 2013 World Championship and we're kind of going into the next competitive year. If you had to add one feature or one rule to the game to make this more skill-based and more even for players in the next championship, if we're talking about something that the devs either add to the game or a rule for us to use, say that you were in charge of this, what would you have them add to the game? You both can think about that for a second if you'd like, but Matrix, I'd like to start off with you, and then Smurf will hear your opinion second. So Matrix, take it away whenever you have your addition that you'd like to see.
I'm sorry to immediately not answer your question and just disagree with the formulation of the question, because saying one rule is extremely arbitrary. There is rather a certain set of rules that could improve upon it.
That was more for the sake of time. That's more for the sake of time than anything else.
I know. Then I'll just put a couple of rules in more or less one sentence. I think that the deck switching system should be revamped into something more resembling a deck plus a sideboard, which will be much more effective with the bigger card base that will be coming in the next year, right? Secondly, I would really enjoy seeing either a draft format later on, or in the moment a sealed format like the one that was played at the last championship. You can. I'm mentioning this game a lot, but this is like the giant to look up to and correct their mistakes. Magic the Gathering. Like if you look at the Grand Prix, or was it the Pro Tour? They were playing a couple of rounds of constructed, then a couple of rounds of limited, and then a couple of rounds of constructed. Mixing in the limited play into it will definitely increase the skill dependence.
Makes perfect sense, actually. Smurfburn, would you agree? Would you say there's something different that you'd like to see?
Well, I mean, everyone wants to see a limited format, but everyone knows that's probably going to be a ways off. I would like to see something like a Swiss changed, maybe the prizes increased and changed to a best out of 3 for each match with sideboards, and you'd really see increased competition and increased decks that way, and that would be, I think, something a little more simpler than designing a set for a sealed.
Makes perfect sense to me. I think personally I would agree with both of those things. I'd love to see some of that in the future, and we'll be talking about that as well, the staff and myself, Chase, and then the rest of the people putting on the Road to Paris afterwards, so we can get that feedback from you guys and from the community. Guys, if you're watching this right now as well and you want to give us feedback, we'd love to hear it. All of our contact information is actually on the screen, so you can get us all through Twitch or through Twitter, so you can shout out to us and give us your ideas as well, so that we can try to implement everyone's great feedback that they're giving to us. But Chase, I'm kind of monopolizing this a little bit. Go ahead, you can take the next question, sir.
Well, I was just going to say, all these things, will definitely be taken into consideration. We're going to be, I'll be bringing a pitch for next year. Matrix, I know we talked at the very beginning of this whole Road to Paris tournament, and you were wanting some more online representation too. And that's definitely a part of my presentation for next year, as we want to expand how many people from the online community can participate in this and have a little bit more representation in the World Championships. Those who can't necessarily make all the different live events and everything. So it's all up in the air right now. We still have a lot of things to decide. We still have to do the World Championship, we crown a winner this year, but there'll definitely be some exciting things coming next year. I wanted to ask you guys, as the game meta has changed, what influence do you think that the Academy faction is going to have in the World Championship? Do you think we're going to see a lot of it, and how does it like change the way that you play?
Well, I'll start out. You better be prepared to deal with spell recursion. It's going to make graveyard recursion a big deal in most decks. Graveyard or resource denial, because if you don't, Academy can just roll over you. It has one of the best 1-drops in the game, and that's going to stop a lot of aggro decks. And it has changed the meta quite a bit.
Well, for me, the biggest introduction from the Academy faction are very reliable spell-based decks. This is something that wasn't there before. I mean, yeah, you had Kieran, but that was coming purely not from the fact that it was a good deck per se, but that his ability was insane. You had Ariana, which that was basically the only. And I mean the Ariana, the 4/6/1 spell one, that was quite strong. But at the moment, you can see a lot of very powerful spell-based decks. Think about Akane, think about Miranda, think about what's her name, Gazal, right? And even the Invoker is getting play. Even Asala, the Invoker is seeing play. So this is the most exciting for me about the Academy faction. And what I really like is about the faction as well is it seems that Duel of Champions is the first game in history of card games that has implemented a working balanced milling strategy. This is blowing my mind that there is a counterable yet sustainable milling strategy in this game. It's beautiful. I would prefer it to be the counter to be a little bit less of a one spell wonder with just discarding the cosmic singularity, haha, I'm not milled anymore, but rather be more playable cards that give variety. But already this is creating a totally new dimension in the game that you have to take into account. As Smurfburn said, it's not only resources denial, but it's also graveyard recursion and denial. Not only from Necro. This is something beautiful, and I'm really excited to see it.
Very cool.
I agree if we're going to talk about balance too. For such a new game, there's a lot of top tier decks that people can choose from to play, and that's my hats off to you guys for having that many choices. Most online card games, with that many options, there's usually 1 or 2 decks to choose from that are top. But my hats off for having so many decks people can choose to play that are very competitive. It's a good.
I think that's probably what's part of like makes us a viable esport is that you actually have those options. That there's a lot of construction for your desk that goes into it. It's not just like 1 or 2 things. Otherwise, that wouldn't be like very entertaining to watch or play with at all. So I want to see who are you guys going into this? Who are you guys most afraid of? Well, you don't even have to admit that you're afraid of, but who are you like most wary about going into the World Championship? Like what other finalists are you keeping an eye on?
Okay, I'll go first this time. Well, from my personal experience, as I already mentioned, both Nilicoms and Tropicio for absolutely different reasons. Both of them are extremely solid players, but Nilicoms is rather an all-out aggression, and especially with decks that nobody ever has encountered. And that can catch anybody off guard so easily. And Tropicio with his amazing analytical skills and just having those thousands of games played on his favorite deck. But there is one more player I would like to mention. I never met and I never talked personally with Oyao, but I played against him online, like just possibly on ladder or in the jackpot, and I'm worried because he wasn't making mistakes.
That's true.
That's not good. I don't like when my opponents don't make mistakes.
I mean, that's kind of usually when you win into the champions, is you wait for that opening when your opponent makes a mistake. For those of you who don't know, Oyao was our July online champion, and also a member of the Millennium Gaming team. So yeah, he's gonna be one of the tough ones to look after.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm gonna look out for Nilicoms and now. Yeah, those online qualifiers were so brutal, and I mean you had to be on your game the entire month straight to get there, and then you had to play the top 16. honestly, that worries me because that's just it was such a brutal tournament for people to have to qualify through.
It was, and I think you're right. The thing that makes Combs such an intimidating opponent is that he has experience with so many different play styles. You know, like if you throw something at him, he probably has an idea of how he's going to counter it and has been preparing for that moment. So it'll be interesting to see him bring that into play in the World Championship.
No
If
doubt.
I have one more mention, out of this top 8, I mean, it might sound a bit bad, but I'm very, very happy that Sirius didn't make it, because this guy is so fearsome. Seriously, I've seen him play. I played against him, and I mean, if you would ask which player am I afraid, I'm afraid of Sirius, that he's going to come in from 9th place and just like beat all of them. This guy is out of this world.
That's awesome. Yeah, keep an eye on him. So I also want to ask you guys, you know, aside from all the serious competitive talk here, we're going to Paris,
I see what
which
you
is
did there. I see
awesome.
what you did there. He mentioned serious, and then you say serious competition. I get it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That wasn't intended, but I'm just gonna take it.
Oh, I should have
just
shown
serious
my
competition.
face so many times. I would have asked Sirius to play in my place, and then win everything, and I would
For
have
you.
just collected the rewards and stuff.
So you guys, so we're going to Paris. What are you most excited for? Like, have you been to Paris? Like, Joel, have you been to Paris? What are you guys
I've
most
never been
excited
to
do?
Europe.
Really?
So I'm pretty excited to go over there and see some things.
Is there like one thing that you're super stoked on seeing?
Not exactly. I think I'll probably just take a day and see some of the normal touristy stuff. I don't know. Is it what should I see, Matrix?
Well, I've been to Paris, I think, twice already, and I've got some mixed feelings, because as much as like the architecture is really nice, and there's a couple of things to definitely see, like, you know, the obvious ones, like you know, Arc de Triomphe and the Eiffel Tower and Sacré-Cœur, Notre Dame, Louvre Museum. This is something that you have to visit, but you cannot do it this time, because you go in and then you stay for 72 hours straight and you still didn't see half of it. But the city itself didn't really do really make all that great impression on me. It had a. I've been to nicer cities, maybe the cities that would felt nicer to live in. That's just my, you know, very personal impression on it.
Well, it's probably going to be very touristy, kind of like a tourist trap type thing now. It's not going to be like the old back cities of France or like the Appalachians or something.
Yeah, man. Like Paris is gonna be so, like, you know, okay.
Oh, Paris.
Right?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, personally, I like Marseille more. You guys are
You like
ridiculous.
what?
We're going to Paris. Of course, it's gonna be awesome.
Of course, it's going to be awesome. We're gonna have a lot of good French wine.
It's,
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that's true. The French wine is gonna be fantastic.
But guys, if we go to France and we get wine, we have to try it and then spit it. That's the rule. That you know, you can go to jail if you don't do it in France.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, come on. They take their wine seriously.
I mean,
Yeah,
putting this-
the one thing that we won't be streaming or taking video of is our trips to the wine bar after the event
That
days
sounds
are
like a
over.
horrible idea.
I think we will not have live streams of that. I think that would be no. If I ever want to run for president or something, I don't want people to see me like that.
Oh,
Yeah, it probably wouldn't
I'm
be
a little
the
scared of
best.
that mental pick here, Matrix.disc as president, but I mean,
Oh no, sorry, I not president, evil overlord. That's one.
well, Matrix has also been training for the new last-minute rule. You have to take a shot after every match. I think he'll be hoping to be the last competitor standing.
I think since I'm from Poland, that is going to be considered doping. I don't want to lower anybody's chances by doping myself like that.
Yeah, who do you think would be most likely to still win Duel of Champions games while drunk? Out of the 8 finalists.
You got top.
It'll be Matrix.disc.
I think he probably thinks it's a rhetorical question because we already know the answer.
He's like, oh, duh, me. Of
this
course.
is the guy that was just sipping out of a wine glass before we started. He's over here like, when are we doing this interview?
You can't prove anything.
I like it.
So guys, just to help plug our own personal feeds, where can people, obviously you're two great players, and people who are playing Dual Champions have a lot that they can learn from you. Where can people follow you and learn more about the game and your own play style?
Okay, shall I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can find me on Twitter at Matrix_DISC, Matrix.disc. You can find me on Twitch TV at Matrix_DISC. Or was it a dot? I think it was underscore. And then on Twitch you can find a link to my Facebook page, because Facebook page is facebook.com/Matrix_disc/ and then like 17 numbers or whatever. So you can find everything there. I have been streaming a lot up to like 1.5 weeks ago, and then real life caught up with me. I'm extremely busy with my master thesis and like real life commitments, and I'm training for Paris, which I don't want to stream. So I will be less active over the couple of next days or possibly weeks till after Paris. But yeah, you can definitely check it out. There are some videos, like for example, me doing an analysis of the of the Forgotten Wars with the Oraxor and the Rancor, giving serpent flies to the cards and then being wrong. You can see me being wrong a lot.
No, that can't possibly be true. Smurfburn, what about you? You've kind of started. You were talking about starting to do some streaming too, right?
Yeah, I don't know if the best time to start that would be when I'm preparing for France.
Right.
Right. So afterwards, once I get some things move around, I'll do that. But I'm on. What was that?
I was saying, so people should go ahead and follow you on Twitter then and get ready for your streams.
And they can always hit us up in game. I'm very chatty with anyone who wants to talk in the game. But that's all I got. I don't have any other fancy stuff like Matrix.disc does.
Awesome. So we just did get someone in the chat. I think this is a really good time, since we just talked about you guys' social media and where they can find you. Before we end this, I think we should definitely take some community questions, see if there's anything they want to ask you guys before we wrap this up. Someone just mentioned they wanted to see if we could release replays of this, and I do believe we do have plans to do that, if I remember correctly. Chase, do you know the plans on that specifically?
Responding to this in chat. So I don't believe that we'll have replays for the round robin part of the tournament, but obviously the both of the semifinal games and the finals will be live streamed, and that will be turned into YouTube videos for everyone to watch. And just something for everyone else to know, spectator mode is a huge thing for us. We didn't get it early enough in time, and we kind of missed some opportunities to get replays to everyone for that. We're sorry, but that's something that we've been working on and improving, and now that it's like in a better place, like as we continue along with this, we're going to have a lot more of that for people. So it's going to be really exciting.
Is there going to be any English commentary on the stream?
There is, yeah. So there's going to be a French stream and an English stream.
Who's going to do the English commentary?
So Asa is going to do the English stream, and then Jason and I will both be doing like guest commentating with him on the English stream. And then what is Gaetan's in-game name, Jason? I don't even know.
What's that? Whose name?
Gaetan's.
Oh,
Gaetan?
Kamundi.
Kamundi, right? Yeah, I totally forgot his in-game name. But he's going to be running the French stream, so and he'll have special guests with him too.
All right, that's really cool. I'm sure you're going to get your cards straight up till then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just there for the color commentary.
I believe that
try not to swear.
The current plan right now shows James, Azza, and Chase here doing one of the semifinal matches, Chase and I doing another of the semifinal matches, and then Azza and I commentating the grand finals together. So that'll be a fun stream. We're looking forward to doing that, and I can't wait to see who ends up being in those matches, and hopefully they're a lot of fun to stream out for you guys. So Let's get some questions from the community. Guys, if you want to know something about the finalists or about these finals for the Road to Paris, you can even ask Chase and I questions if you do want some. Someone just asked, is spectator mode still in alpha? I actually believe it's a little bit closer to almost, I guess you could say, a beta build now. It's a little bit further along. They did just update it again. I think that the current plan is for us to use the current spectator mode for the Road to Paris finals, which will be really cool because it's got a lot of features that aren't in the game currently, like being able to see both players' decks so we can see if they're making a mistake or if they're reading their opponent correctly. So that'll be really nice. We did actually just have Kamundi, as we were just mentioning him before, use it for the first time on our Duel of Champions stream here earlier today, and he was doing some guest show matches with, I believe it was Grobel that was playing earlier today.
Damn, I missed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. I got to catch a couple right before heading out to lunch here, and it looked really cool. I'm excited to play with that spectator mode, so that is coming, so stay tuned for that.
Don't forget to pin it on Twitch so you can watch the past broadcasts.
Oh, most definitely.
So people can check it out, because I'm guessing that, the new spectator mode is something that you really want to show to people and say, hey, this is the thing we've been working on, and this is the thing that you really were expecting. Here you go, just take a look.
All right. Thank you to Theru in chat for this upcoming question. I think was it Theru? No, it was Soph. Theru was asking about a report function similar to what League of Legends has, and I think that is something that we'll be talking about when we're doing that workshop, when we are talking feedback-wise in pairs. I think that's something everybody wants, is an easier way for support in game, and we'll bring that up. We'll make sure that gets mentioned. But Soph asked, how does it feel to be a finalist in Road to Paris? How does it feel to be a finalist? And this is the important part here. Does it bring success with the ladies? Smurfburn, you can start with this. All these gorgeous gingers here can answer this question.
Well, it's hard living in California and not being able to go out in the sun. I'll open up with that. That's kind of that's
They're dying. Don't die. I think everyone in the office behind me right now is clapping. It's
Yeah.
Woo! Go Smurfburn!
I would have to. I'd have to say being involved with a strategic card game is a work of passion because it's usually not very impressive to the girls.
Right.
That's
Well, like I mentioned in chat,
I
I traded my game with girls for game in DOC, so it's one or the other, I guess. So if
Well, I don't need any more luck with ladies. I already have an amazing girlfriend, so
Oh yeah.
no need for that.
Someone's not sleeping on the couch tonight after that one. Nice shout out. Wait, so I think we got another question here from Nilicons. Another one of our finalists said, "Are you going to get hammered in Paris and have hangovers for the matches?"
I'll answer that only if I lose.
Wait.
If I lose, I'm blaming it on the hangover.
You got chopped up again for me. Could you please repeat the question?
Yeah, it was from Nilicons, and he asks, "Are you going to get hammered in Paris and be hungover for the matches?"
Is it even a question?
I'm so glad.
We're probably gonna wait till afterwards.
I'm not sure.
I'm so
We'll
glad
have
these questions are so
wait and
serious.
see.
These questions are just killing me.
Man.
We should play a game during the live stream called "Is He Hungover?" and you can guess in the match whether the opponent is hungover.
I think to introduce the equal standing ground, we should get everybody drunk the day before, and then everybody play hungover, and that's gonna be fun and entertaining,
If you lose, I'm renaming you to Matrix Drunk. That's gonna happen.
Oh.
That's not gonna stick. That's not gonna stick.
Ultimate Loser asks, "Is there a ginger alliance forming, and do you plan to take down the non-redheads as a team?"
Hell yeah, Ginger Alliance.
Does
Yeah,
that mean
I agree with that. I'll just put out a warning. Anyone with melanin at that tournament's going down.
So
As far as I know, Minikop's a ginger too. So.
does this mean that I have to be biased? Do I have to be like, no, he's gonna win this match, power to my kind, or something like that? That sounds horrible.
Obviously, you are going to have to be biased.
Well, now the question is, how can you be biased if it will be me versus Smurfburn? Is it the person who is more ginger, or the person who's got more off ginger?
I was just
I
gonna
think
say,
we'll just have to go with the less facial hair. We'll be the winner.
Last facial hair.
Less facial hair.
You know, I'm you know, in case of distress, I'm just going to, you know, capture you.
Oh my! Oh,
I'm a little scared of that. Next question. in the
intimidated's a
chat.
better word.
The next question, and this one's going to be actually kind of interesting because it's kind of important, but at the same time not, because we have made a statement that if the next patch is not out before the Road to Paris Finals, which it's probably not going to be completely honest, we are going to be banning Amar from the tournament so that you won't have to be seeing any of those crazy OTK decks that we've been seeing that have been running rampant through Jackpot and Swiss tournaments lately. But Soph93 in chat just asked, what do you think about the current Amar balance and how do you feel about the incoming nerf? Fair, or was he over nerfed? Let's start with Matrix and then Smurf, you can follow up.
I will say the controversial thing, and I think that Amar, okay, maybe he wasn't balanced, but I think this is a ginormous nerf hammer hit to him, and I think that's a way far over nerf. He could have been nerfed by upping the fortune requirement by 1 or something, but the whole point was that there are ways to stop him. Maybe not with every deck, but there definitely are ways to stop him. One of them is just don't let him have even a single creature on the board, or you can just, well, you play Void Arbiter and he can't do anything, and so on. There is a lot of ways to stop him. You can outrush Amar, and I feel like it was over nerfing. But on the other hand, I don't care that he's banned. I really don't care. The only real change I can see is that there will be some decks that had big problems with him will be a little bit more viable because they will not need to play 4 copies of Blind Arbiters as the events. That's the only thing.
Right.
I think it's good for the meta game. I mean, it's just when you're going to a big tournament like that, first you have to be worried about graveyard recursion, and now I have to worry about someone playing an MR deck and having to run 4 of my events. When you just see every deck have to take cards aside to prepare for a deck, it's time to change that deck. It's just
But then sorry to just cut into your sentence. But what do you say about Crag Hack? I mean, you have a Crag Hack that plays, you know, turn 2 Dark Assassins, and then you're like, ha! I've got an Earthquake, and then Mana Storm comes in. Why is Mana Storm in this case? Like, you know, why isn't Crag Hack OP in this understanding and Amar is? I just feel that actually similarities between Crag Hack and Amar are extreme. Those 2 decks are very close in the philosophy of play. So why nerf one and not the other?
I feel because when you put Earthquakes or Insect Swarms in your deck, you're putting them there for other decks as well. But when you're putting Blind Arbiters in your deck, you're not putting Blind Arbiters in for any other deck. And that's how I look at that.
For OTKs as well. You really screw with OTKs, especially if you're talking about this new wave of Heaven OTKs, because they really want this mana acceleration, the resource acceleration. So you're really screwing with them. So there are reasons to put Blind Arbiters. Well, I have even seen an Asala deck running three copies of Arbiters, just because she was more comfortable with removing the creatures that were coming in 3s at max.
Huh. Interesting. Very interesting to say the very least.
So going off of this like discussion of decks, who was it that asked? From Tyrion. What deck do you think will be the most common at the World Championship in Paris, and what do you think are its strengths and weaknesses? What do you think you're going to see the most of, and how are you going to counter it?
I'll start. I think I'm going to see Sandolphin, Cassandra, and Demiria quite a bit. That's just what I think I'm going to be seeing.
That's pretty much the same. I mean, Sandalphon and Damiria, I'm not sure about Cassandra, but Sandalphon and Damiria are going to be very, very popular. Well, they're both really good and consistent decks, and then like, for example, the matchup between Sandalphon, we're talking now about the 3-3-1 or 3-4. I mean, with Song of the Lost, it's 3-4-1 or 4-4-1 versions. Well, it's an extremely solid deck, and in a matchup against Damiria, the chances are very, very close. I mean, either he draws Monsoons and you don't draw your removal, or you draw the removal and he doesn't draw Monsoons. You just, if he's playing too carefully, you will just slow roll him. So this is actually, those two decks I will be very happy to see, because those would produce extremely interesting matches that will be skill based. Maybe there will be as well a couple of like rush decks, like Rush E decks, maybe some sort of a what was the name? What's the name of the hero that Nilicoms has won with?
Akamas.
Akamas, which is surprisingly strong.
That's
as
interesting.
a rush deck.
Yeah, I'm personally interested to see if we see any of the newer heroes, the new heroes from each faction. I wouldn't be surprised if someone pulls out a surprise Morgan. I think Morgan is very strong right now, and that not as many people know it. I also do think that some of the newer heroes, like the new Stronghold hero even, I believe that I haven't seen many of those in game at all, but she seems like she might... The new, was it Zulika, I believe her name is?
Zulika.
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of off-the-wall things, and even an Asala. I played actually in game very recently against one of the people that runs Mom Cards, the French site, and they were playing an Asala mill deck. That was one of the strongest things I've seen. Very, very powerful. Wasn't expecting it whatsoever. So we'll see if maybe someone pulls out some of this. If you know, they're working over with the French players as well, something like Oh Yeah, we're Global, we could potentially see those in the event. I'll be really curious to see if any of those players bring those out. But
yeah, but then you see, I mean, those decks are going to have the advantage of being a surprise deck, because from my experience, like Asala isn't really all that great if you know what you're playing against.
Right.
There are ways of of outrushing her, either with Sandalphon or out controlling her with Damiria or maybe with some other decks. Just this is going to give a huge edge if this deck will not be seen and analyzed by other players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very interesting to say the least. I think we're actually going to be getting close here to the end, so we're going to take probably like 1-2 more questions from the community. We got one from Querison here that was asking about feelings on the Spell Stealer Wizard, which is, do you think it's overpowered? Stealing a spell like that, not like a Spell Twister or getting something where you can get it back from the graveyard, is it too strong to be able to take a spell and make it your own? What do you think? Will we see any games decided by a Spell Stealer Wizard in Paris? Give me your thoughts. Matrix, you can start if you'd like.
Okay, well, I feel that Spell Stealer Wizard is an insanely powerful card. I mean, seriously, his power level and the uniqueness of the thing that he does, because you know you've got a Spell Steal, but come on, who plays Spell Steal? This card is just pure bad because it doesn't deal with the biggest threat, with the uniques, with either Salts or Might of Nature or Light of Tomorrow, you know. And I mean, even a common Dispel is better than you know, a rare Spell Steal. And on the other hand, Spell Steal Wizard is not only dealing additionally with the uniques, but he as well is a body, and it's not a really weak body. He's 3/15, a shooter. That's yeah, I think he is. I'm pretty sure he is. So this he brings in the worst case, it's a Spell Steal or on anything plus a body to block at least one turn. This guy is extremely powerful. He might deserve a nerf. And just coming back to the question you asked, will we see games decided by Spell Stealer? If we will see games where we have a deck that relies on an ongoing and a deck that plays a spell stealer. By definition, those games are going to be pretty much decided by him.
And Smurfburn, your thoughts?
I guess I pretty much agree with Matrix. The only downside is that it's vulnerable to rush decks, but I mean any control deck is. And it is annoying to play against, but there's a lot of cards that are annoying to play against as well.
Wise
true.
words, to say the least.
Well,
I think that I was just going to
More
say,
questions?
I think that pretty much, and if there's any other questions that are left from the chat, they can ask them now. I think we're just almost out of questions, which means we're almost out of time as well. I am glad. What was that, Chase?
No, go ahead.
It's-
Tell us what you're glad about, and then I will say something.
I was just going to say, I'm glad that you guys took the time. I know we kind of didn't get to hammer this out until the last minute doing this stream. So I'm really glad you
Yeah.
guys were flexible enough to come and join us. Like, that's really awesome that you
Yeah.
guys were able to take some time. And to be really clear on this, we've got people all over the world in this call right now, with 2 people in California on the west coast of the U.S., 1 on the east coast of the U.S., and then we've got Europe represented here as well. So people all over the world here in this call. So
that is quite far from all over the world. You know, there are other continents than America.
it's
Like
2
Asia,
sides. I mean, it's
Australia.
come on. This is the world that matters right here. No.
Oh.
Don't-
Oh
We're gonna-
no, you didn't.
We're gonna edit that one out in post production.
It's all playing. It's all playing. Jay Zilla's gonna come in from Australia and show us what's up. He's gonna win it
It's
for that
just
side of the
Smoking
planet
nerds.
right there.
Guys, I also wanted to say, we wanted to use this as an opportunity to introduce you to the community. I guess for those who don't know who Matrix.disc is, there can't be too many of them. But Smurfburn, wanted to introduce you as well. If you guys want to learn more about the other finalists that are coming to Paris, you can go to the Road to Paris blog. It's just road2paris.com/blog. Every day this week, we are going to be releasing a new interview and actually custom-made artwork or card art for each one of the players. Grobel's out there right now, so you can read his interview. And Troubasil will be coming in like the next hour or so stay tuned for that. And we're going to be doing a new one every week. So check out the blog and get to know these guys a little bit better.
Poor guy. He's chosen such an incorrect nickname.
Uh-oh.
Nobody can pronounce it. Who is not Polish. It's Trupicie.
Oh. Well, there you go.
I'll just call him Troopy. It's easy enough.
Yeah,
Trippy.
And that's actually close enough to the correct pronunciation. So well done.
There we go. That's it. All right, before we wrap up, guys, last thoughts to the community. Anything that you want to say? Anyone you're going to give a shout out to? Smurfburn, you're going to go ahead and start for us right now. Anybody that you want to say hi to, or any other final thoughts in closing?
Final thoughts. I'll just say everyone's going to play to win, and I don't think we should count anyone out. Because I know we're talking a lot, like someone mentioned, we haven't talked about the other 2. Everyone's preparing. Everyone's bringing their A game. I don't think anyone isn't taking this seriously. And I'll just give a shout out to my friend Dietrich42 that's going to be coming with me. I guess people have been calling him coach, but I'm really better than him, so that doesn't really apply.
Oh, trash talk on his own friend. That's horrible.
Burn. Apply to the burnt area.
Smurf burned. Done.
Smurfburn.
That's it.
Oh boy.
Oh, Matrix.
Bad
you're up
jokes are bad.
That's
Yeah.
that's what you get when you get Jason Carlos in the room. All right, Matrix, you're up next. Any final thoughts? Any shout-outs?
Yeah, I actually do. I mean, first of all, I totally agree with Smurfburn. I mean, even though there is a hype around a couple of players, and it seems like it's like, oh my God, there is like a higher and lower tier of players in there. That's absolutely incorrect. Everybody there is a seasoned player. Everybody there has got their shot at winning. And actually, the people that are considered, the like maybe weaker from the beginning, they are flying under the radar. I'm sure they will pull out or pull off. I'm not sure. The great strategy that nobody has ever seen, and just beat somebody. I mean, I can clearly see, you know, like, oh my God, Nilicom's lost to one of the other players, and nobody expected that. I'm sure, and I would really discourage anybody from trying to divide players into better and worse. And when it comes to shoutouts, I have a couple of them. First of all, I would like to give a shout out to Aza404, Jason Paradise, and Chase Strait. You guys are freaking awesome. I'm really happy to be able to talk to you and to cooperate with you. And you've been all really a great help to me when it comes to all MMDoc. I would like to give a shout out to Lord Malbazar, the guy that has created the most awesome and the best webpage about Duel of Champions, mmdoc.net. This is the place where everybody hangs out at the IRC chat. One more person, P3K. This is the guy that has done the English commentary for the Mr. Hennip's stream. He is a great player, an amazing strategist. He's really good at commentating. You can watch his stream at twitch.tv P3K. And last but definitely not least, I would like to give a shout out. And I'm weak. I'm gonna give a shout out to my beloved girlfriend Aisha, because she has been so supportive. She has been, you know, understanding when I'm sitting in front of a computer for hours and hours playing the game. You know, I mean, you have to appreciate a person like this.
That's right.
That's absolutely true.
She's sitting right there, isn't she?
She's sitting right there.
Oh, that's why he said it. I know it.
He doesn't want to sleep on that couch he's sitting on. He's been on it all day already.
I would like to say that nothing I say here is said under any sort of pressure. I am saying it all out of free will.
That's awesome.
You guys do, I'll give a quick shout out to Crixius and Iltree. Those guys have been two North American streamers. They're trying to bring the community in from North America. I talk to them a lot. They gave me a shout out the other day, so I thought I'd return the favor. Any North American players that want to get into the game should definitely check out their streams.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. They've really been doing a lot for the North American scene, so I completely agree. Crixius, Iltree, those guys are amazing. They actually just started their own Doc Talk like show, very similar to what you were doing, Matrix. So they really appreciated what you were doing for them as well, giving them the inspiration to make that show for the North American community. So big things happening all over the DOC world, and we shall find out what the next champion of DOC will be. The next big, I guess, subject of talk will be who is going to be the next, or possibly repeating if a certain person here in the room manages to take the title. Who is the next world champion? And we shall find out next week. November 1st is the day for the stream, so make sure to tune in. We will be here joined by these two finalists as well as the 6 others in Paris as we are looking to wrap up the 2013 competitive DOC season. And with that being said, we are out of here. This is Jason Paradise, alongside, of course, Chase Strait, and we will see you next week from beautiful Paris, France. Until then, guys, take care, have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for joining us. See you soon.
Let's
Bye-bye.
get that famous Matrix.disc peace symbol first before we leave.
I like that. Yes.
Let's see it. Let's do it.
Yeah, one more.
No,
On
I
the
want to
spot.
see it. I
On
want
the
to
spot.
see it.
We'll all do it with you. We'll all do it with you.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Everybody.